Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Forum YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer with producer Bobby helping us out with the Monday Race of the Day preview. Mike, we're all focused on New York for Saratoga, but New York has some big racing all the way through Monday. We'll take a preview of that one in just a moment, but we want to let all of you know about the full meat packages that we're offering at shop.drf.com for Saratoga racing. You can get past performances and clocker reports for every racing day, betting strategies on Saturdays, a couple different package options for you. Check them out at shop.drf.com. Just a small field for us to look at for Monday here, Mike, at Finger Lakes, but $150,000 up for grabs for the New York Breds in the New York Derby here. The very sharp Train the Trainer is your 8-5 morning line favorite. This horse has won back-to-back races. One of them was a New York bred stakes race in the Mike Lee. So everything he's done is good, but he will have to prove it going a little bit longer. He hasn't been beyond 7 furlongs so far.
It's the main question of the race here, Gino. Is Train the Trainer going to be as effective routing around 2 turns as he has been so far sprinting? Because this horse has been really, really good in all 3 starts so far, and he's fast, and he's got the rail, and he's going to make the lead in here.
Yeah, he's just the most consistent overall, too. All 3 of those races have been good, even the debut where he lost to Open Company there. Let's take a look at the pace projector. I think Timeform US has him out on the front end. I will say the 4 hit the post was pretty impressive in that sloppy race win last time out, and that was when they put this horse right on the front end. So I generally think when horses run so well with the tactics, they're going to try to go right back to those tactics. Maybe the 4 can push Train the Trainer a little bit. Even horses like the 3 and the 5, I don't think they want to be far out of it. They're the types of horses who want to be close up and tracking. So maybe in this small field, there can be some pressure on the heavy favorite here.
That's a good call, and I'm not going to argue with that point at all because you're right about hit the post. The horse, who, by the way, was probably better than he looked anyway going into that last race off the layoff last time, but he really did show pretty big speed in that race. It was on a wet track, so we'll see if that had anything to do with it. But he was impressive last time. He ran a figure that's going to make him competitive in here, and maybe they get aggressive again.
It's going to go as race number 7 on Monday at Finger Lakes, July the 14th. Let's take a look at the field here for this one. And we start things out with the number 1, Train the Trainer. Mike, this horse is pretty tough to knock overall in those 3 races, right? We're looking at the replay last time out. He's on the front end. He was cruising here. He put away any early challenges, and he wins this race by almost 3 in the end. Loses to Goal Oriented in the career debut. Horse comes back to win next time out and then runs in the Preakness. So I just don't have a whole lot to knock about the form. It's just a question that you have to ask for this horse. Maybe there's a little bit of other speed that pushes him. Maybe he doesn't want to go that far, but he's certainly the horse that they'll all have to beat in here.
All questions that you want to be asking yourself if you're thinking about betting him, because he's going to be a really short price in this race. So you don't want to concede the race to him as good as he's been. And you're right to bring up his debut, the only loss anyway. This is the race of the day. You have formulator PPs. Go pull the chart for that race and then look at what everybody, not only the horse that beat him, but everybody that finished behind him. That was a super live race. There were nothing but good horses in there. They've all come back to turn out to be really, really good, including Train the Trainer. And his 2 races in New York are excellent. I really liked his win in the Mike Lee last time. I think he is fastest early in here. He's going to be on the lead. Just the question is, will he go this far?
That Santa Anita race you referenced, there were 5 next out winners in that one. He was one of those 5. And the horse that didn't win next out has actually come back and run well a couple other times in there. Mike, I know that Mike Maker, 3 Diamonds Farm, and me all think Calling Card is a little bit better than what he's been able to show most recently. He's one of those horses that I can't quit. And I can tell the connections have been high on him ever since that race back in November at Aqueduct. He ran like sneaky good a couple times when he was facing Open Company in some of those stakes races. He's a horse who feels like there's more than what he's been able to show lately. And this is a field where class-wise he fits. I just always worry about him with his running style, right? Because he just isn't quick early. He really needs a little pace to run at. What do you think about Calling Card's chances in here?
Yeah, you and 3 Diamonds Farm and Maker, and you can add me to that list.
There we go, right?
I'm trying to get away from this horse, and yet every time I see him in the PPs, I want to make a case for him, and I want to stick with him. And it's easy to do, right? First of all, especially when you go back and look at the maiden win first time on dirt, he was so impressive winning that day, and they just ran him in. I think one wrong. I don't. Maybe it's not wrong, but just races that didn't work out for him after the open stakes races, synthetic turf. They tried cutting him back last time, and he got wired. I mean, I can just keep making excuses for this horse. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do that, Gino, but I still think he can win this race.
I know, I did the same thing because I looked at it and went, if all four of the horses are close up, kind of jockeying for position, and he sits back and just could be one that maybe swoops by him all late, we'll find out with Calling Card. King's Leap is the next one up. He's been a local horse at Finger Lakes, so that's what he has advantage over the rest of the group. He's a 3-time winner here at Finger Lakes. Doesn't really have a whole lot of poor performances, but he's just going to have to step up based on the company he's been facing lately, or feels like most of these have been facing tougher.
Yeah, see, assuming some of these other, the shipping horses show up here and run their good race, Kingsley could be in a little bit of trouble because he's just not that fast. He's answered the 2-turn question already, so I guess you got that going for him. If I'm being honest, the last race is the best one he's ever run. I don't like that he lost to that horse, Sorority Prank. I know the Sorority Prank's gotten up there, and he's been, Englehart's gotten him, but he's won 3 in a row now. But that horse, he was like 1 for 20 to start his career. He's never that good. I don't know, man. I don't like that loss.
Hit the post will make his second start as a 3-year-old, and he's maybe the real wild card to the race because it feels like he could put a little pressure on the one. It was extremely impressive on June the 6th at Saratoga. He moved through the inside lead, cleared by 2, took to the sloppy track, absolutely crushed. And that was actually the co-top last buyer in the field. So on speed figures, it's not like he's overmatched. It just, can he reproduce that? You were pointing out he might have been a little bit better than that going into the race because he's always flashed some speed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going back to I remember he was a horse that on his career debut was a horse that I personally made a note to follow him because I just thought he ran a really underrated race that day. And his second start, he bumped into a really fast horse that just blew him away. I'm concerned that when they stretched him out to a mile at the end of last year, he didn't run well that day. So I do wonder how far he wants to go. But man, was he impressive last time. I would not totally dismiss this horse, especially if he's a fair price.
Butta rounds out the field, proven at a mile, should sit pretty nicely from the outside, has the top last out buyer speed figure. Had a good start, was right on the lead, settled in the second flight, and the 2 path was 2 lengths off, basically picked where he wanted to sit. He made a 3-wide bid, moved to the lead in mid-stretch, and was just second best that day. And my favorite thing about this horse, Mike, is the family and some of the direct siblings. We've got Butta, we've got Oyster, we've got Chowder, and we've got Lobster, all from the salty little sis dam. So I'm getting hungry right now.
Yeah, seriously, right? This horse, listen, his last race was good, and it came against some really tough older horses too. And now he gets back in with 3-year-olds. I still feel like, the buyer that he earned last time suggests that he's a major contender in here. I still think he's got to prove that because his prior races really don't make him a contender in here.
Yeah, what's nice is that he had a quick start last time. So if he can get out and then gives him some options in a small field like this where he wants to sit. We move to the selections for this one, Mike. We train the trainers, the horse to beat, no doubt about it. He's going to be really tough. I think you landed in that direction, right?
Ultimately decided not to try to beat him. I thought long and hard about putting Calling Card on top once again in this race. I didn't do it.
1, 2, 4 for Mike, 2, 5, 1 for me. I'll go back to our old friend Calling Card. We'll see if we can get in that 7-2 above range, and maybe that's some decent value in this small field. So Monday race of the day, it's the New York Derby. Free pass performances on the website at DRF.com.